2024 Inver 16 Albert 1352. Bro. So I'm editing and I'm thinking, well, this is going to be confusing. Calling whatever story and Bible thing I'm talking about the simulation thing, whatever I was talking about a couple months ago. Um, it's gonna be confusing calling it Alice because Alice is a real project in it theory that has nothing to do with the simulation. So I was like, but I remember I had come up with an acronym for it. Um, Artificial life. Oh, I don't remember. Okay, but and so maybe the acronym can be just reorganized, or maybe it can be put in French because sometimes French acronyms are backwards. Anyway, here's the point. What do you get when you put Alaris backwards? Because that's what the story should be called. What do you get? Surreala. That's amazing. That's so awesome. Surreala. That's so cool. So obviously that's what it would be called. Surreala, not Alaris. Academia. But in his world, obviously, he can't be just all alone. He'll kill himself like probably other people have before me that you sent in. I'm assuming though that, well, no, it isn't worth knowing whether if I killed myself I would just snap back or whether it'd be like interesting. It wouldn't be, but I know it'd be worth. It's best that I think so that I stay in here no matter what. Okay, so here's what you need from me. I got you now. You need me to you sent me the simulation with a bunch of really dumb NPCs so that I can evaluate them and understand them. And you can't do it because I gotcha. Because you have critical recognition. You know that you have to actually like be in it for all the mechanisms to engage in the evaluation. You guys have tried. You've studied videos from the past, you've studied ideas from the past, and you tried to evaluate them. But someone had the idea that maybe you're not really engaging with it because part of it doesn't really matter. They're ideas of the past. No one really believes. You're not motivated and so all of your mechanisms don't get engaged. But me, you made it so I couldn't fucking breathe unless I figured it out. I gotcha. Okay, so here's what you need from me with and from all the different people that you've put in all these different simulations. Okay, you need us to use our perspective and our emotional motivation and all of that to figure out ways to evaluate error based on knowledge of cognitive errors and find truth and settle disagreements and stuff. And whatever I come up with, the Manalaris and the Mappets, will be applicable to you guys. It's just hard to invent them when you don't have the emotional motivation and also you don't have the when you're too close in intelligence to the things you want to study, and so that you can't see the errors. I gotcha. Wow, that's cool. That would be a good story, wouldn't it? No, I won't do it. I know. I know. You've put people in this program that were like, hey, they were too smart. They were so smart, so they weren't, fucking crazy. So they didn't really believe that and stay on the mission. But once they figured out that was happening, they didn't really believe it. But they thought, oh, that's an interesting story. And then they went and made a movie, made millions, and blah, 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 blah. And another one wasn't working on the fucking mission. I got you. Okay, fine. I will not. But I am going to note that story. I am going to note that story if you don't mind. So, that is so fun. So, protagonist. Oh gosh. Shouldn't be. I'm not the protagonist. So, person from future dystopia sent among lower intelligence to study and understand air or something. And like, I don't know, is Map It, can you guys tell me whether I'm on the right track? Do you guys see how Map It and Manalaris, I know I have to actually do it. I know I have to actually, okay, this is what's happening in the conversation. Okay, so there's dissent, which triggers this process, which is why the person said this thing and why that thing seemed reasonable, blah, 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 even though it wasn't, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that was a terrible synopsis, or a terrible premise, terribly formulated. And we don't want to trigger anything about arrogance in our premise, because we are going to put this on our wall. And just in case this isn't a simulation, we don't want to scare someone off because they think that we think we're some kind of genius messiah sent, blah, blah, blah. But it is kind of an interesting story, but we have to take out the... No, we don't, whatever, because this person who has realized that he's in the simulation, he doesn't, it's not like he actually sees himself as smarter than real people. In fact, since he was a kid, or I don't know how long the simulation's actually been going, maybe just a few hours, but what feels like decades ago, I would say, I don't think I'd be I think I'd be one of the dumbest people on my planet. So you guys created this, blah, 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 but so it's still, oh, I'm the only special thing, but yeah, okay, I get that, but no, because I'm really picturing a reality where I'm pretty actually insignificant. In this simulation, I'm significant, but this simulation is running on some computer in some basement somewhere, and they're blinking light, and then you zoom out a little bit, and you see I'm this little blinking blue light on this one little server thing, and you see there are hundreds of thousands. There are tons of these, and there is no reason to think that I'm the one that's going to actually do it, figure out this solutions. But that would be cool, and maybe other people are already doing it. And maybe they just realized, maybe someone's already figured it out, but they just realized they can't pull me out, because then once I'm back in the real world, they found people had this like weird trauma feeling of having spent all this time in this fake world and for nothing. So you're gonna wait until I figure it out to pull me out to say, hey, you know, we'll see how what you figured out might be useful, but we do have the answer. But how cool is it that you were able to spend all that time figuring it out for yourself? And I'll say, yeah, that was cool. So yeah, okay, even if you guys have figured it out, don't pull me out until I figure it out. This is fun. Because you need a certain difference to study. This is kind of like the meta paradox, isn't it? Like the highest level meta isn't itself observed because it's the highest level. I'm not saying the highest level in intelligence, but I'm saying in the future, everybody's of the same level pretty much. And they all know that they're making mistakes, but there's no one of a higher level to really be able to understand and do something for the mistakes. I'm not at that higher level, which is why they sent me back here, or sent me into this simulation with characters of a lower level. But hey, look, I know how terrible this sounds, but it is a fun idea. It is a fun idea. It is a fun idea. It's like the intelligence paradox. It's like you can't, like a TV character can pretty much only be as intelligent as the smartest moments of its writer. And so it makes it really hard to write, you know, a genius. And sometimes I think they do a pretty good job, actually. But sometimes they'll have the genius say something about religion or philosophy, and it's like, that's not, I get that that's how a dumb person would think that we see it, but no, that's not quite it. Reminder, I don't see myself as a super genius. I'm not a 160 genius. Alright. I get how bad this looks. It was just a thought that this stupid ass brain had, okay? What should we call that story? Alaris. That could probably even be a fun acronym. S could be simulation. E could be experimental. I could be intelligence. R could be like review or E, what did I say? It could be error or it could be experimental. Let me think about that. Uh, 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, 1249. Alright, I won't do it. Don't even feel super motivated to do it. And I do feel motivated to do what I'm supposed to do. But I did come up with a cool name for your simulation. Are you ready? And this will be the name of my fiction story about it. Are you ready? Artificial Lifetime Error Reconnaissance and Intelligence Simulation. Alaris. Do you like it? And then, of course, what I'm inventing is an Alaris, an application of empirical, reasonable, imaginative, and skeptical principles. Oh, you do like it! That doesn't mean you like it! Oh my god! Alright, hold on. Let me put a towel down, because I don't have a window here. Did you guys hear the applause? I don't know whether you guys could hear that. I don't mean them, I mean you guys. Alright. Let me put a towel. Oh, it's just to applaud? Okay. I'll get a towel anyway, just in case, because I have to remember I'm mostly just joking here. And it's actually just really weird that you gave me that applause. And it's just a weird coincidence. Because I gotta stay motivated, I gotta stay focused on the mission. And you guys should not have done that. You should not have given me that applause, because now I feel like I'm in a David Foster Wallace. I want out. Alright. That's good. Artificial Lifetime Error Reconnaissance and Intelligence Simulation. Obviously, that's too perfect to be real life. So I guess whatever I just said probably doesn't work as an actual name for your simulation, because I probably just said some gibberish, didn't I? Because that seems as perfect as it gets. I don't feel like that's like something where it's like almost, oh, the acronym must be based on those words. Because there's no way. I must be backdating. There's no way I've been trying to invent Alaris and then realized that I'm inventing Alaris because that's what I've been put in the simulation for, and that the simulation can be called Alaris. Artificial Lifetime Error Reconnaissance and Intelligence Simulation. Maybe a different R word instead of reconnaissance, but that's good because, you know, it comes from the French for recognize. So it's like error recognition, but it's also like a mission, like doing some recon. But you could put recognition there. Artificial Lifetime Error Recognition and Intelligence Simulation. It's not perfect, where you're like, that the Alaris must have, you know, it does feel a little bit forced. Error recognition and intelligence simulation. What does that mean? Intelligence simulation. Well, no, I mean, that is exactly literally what we've been talking about. So it is pretty damn good. Too damn good to be real. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, 1305 or something. This is stupid. You guys ignore me. This is really just for the video. Because I know it doesn't make any sense for me to have a request, because I don't know anything. I don't understand anything. And this would be like one of the NPCs you put in the simulation asking God for things or judging the decisions of God. I get how silly that is. So, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's really just for the video. And just because I feel like it. But please ignore me and my arrogance for thinking that even this question or this request makes any sense. Or that, if, obviously if, here's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to say, like, I hope that this construct is similar enough to the real world. Like visual light, vision, I don't, because I was thinking that, what about having to get used to that? But I get how fucking stupid that is, because A, you considered that, and B, if the world appears, if this construct is visually processed by me the way that it is, and then when I get to reality, it will be fundamentally different and require even a couple of years of adjustment. Obviously, there's a reason for that. Now, suppose, though, that reason were because you're running hundreds of thousands of these simulations and it wasn't feasible to give us an experience that resembles the real world. Okay. Again, I get how dumb it is for me to be negotiating, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm figuring out Alaris, the Manalaris, the method and stuff. I swear to you, it's the only thing that makes me happy. It's the only thing that makes life for this construct bearable. And not to mean there are lots of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things in the construct that I really, really enjoy. Thank you for making me so handsome. And yeah, there are lots of awesome people, and so thank you. But you know, anyway, so I guess I'm just wondering, if I work really hard, you know, would you guys consider transitioning me, you know, putting or allocating a little more resources to this simulation if I'm doing any better than any of the other, than a majority of the other simulations? And if I'm not, I'm not. Okay. But you know, I haven't met. Oh, right. They all exist in other simulations. Right. Right. In fact, probably any average person you put into this simulation ends up like not totally conforming. Yeah. Okay, never mind. I didn't forget I said anything. But I was embarrassed before I said it. I'm more embarrassed now. I'll just get back to work. Oops, pardon. My phone's gonna die in a second. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, 13 something. What would the twist be in the Alaris story? I don't like the idea of like the story finishing where, you know, this guy needs to be humbled. I don't like the idea of this story being popular and everybody going, oh, I'm the guy who's been put in a simulation of a bunch of stupid people and I'm the only one who's right, blah, blah, blah. So what's the twist at the end of the story? That it wasn't about error recognition, it was about like self-error recognition. It was about whether a human is able to see their own errors even if they feel like they are less erroneous than others. You know, could that be like the twist or something? And you could be showing two simulations side by side. One where you've got a character that's like, oh my god, these stupid fucking NPCs, I'm here to study them. He's figured that out. And then the other one, me, who's like, has figured out that possibility. Are you applauding? Oh yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Why are you applauding though? I was actually just talking about the fictional story. And why would you want me to know that that's what it's about? Because that's kind of meaningless. I already know that I'm wrong about stuff. I don't, why am I getting... I already know that I'm wrong about stuff. What's going on? What am I... Okay, you're right. I keep affirming I already know I'm wrong about stuff. I'm not taking seriously this rain. So I should learn that more? No? You were just saying, oh yeah, good job, Eris. I mean, I'll stay humble. Sorry, what happened? I actually lost track of what we were saying. I don't know how to interpret the rain stopping again. I don't know what's going on. Alright, I'm gonna get back to the video. So yeah, there should be some kind of a twist that, you know, the reason I succeed is because I don't go considering myself an Ubermensch for some reason. Somehow my not considering myself an Ubermensch is exactly what I need to do to succeed and save the world. Not my construct, but save the actual world, as in succeed by inventing Winalaris and stuff. Is that what it is? I can't tell whether that's leaves or rain. Oh, it's not raining. Okay. So you just stay on the right track, same track, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't let this this idea of a simulation go to my head and make me think. I got you. I got you. I got you. Stay humble. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. There are tons of people you send these simulations that failed. They got too arrogant. They got too cocky. Whatever. And they didn't end up figuring out an error detection thing because they just ended up thinking, oh yeah, everybody's stupid, and I see their errors, end of story, or something. Or they didn't develop the thing enough because there were too many assumptions of their own infallibility. I gotcha. Okay, can I open the door back up? Do I have you? I'm just gonna keep working. I don't even think this line should be open. Okay, just keep manipulating me as you've been doing. This is too much for me. Alright, I'm gonna open the door again. Alright, bye. Alright, guys. Just one little thing. I am definitely the Jacob of my family. My father. Pretty sure my dad thinks I'm the smartest and intelligence is a big deal to him. Probably that he's most comfortable with me. I think I gotta be, out of the 5 kids and 3 boys, gotta be up there as far as how much time he spent with me. Definitely have received the most money. That's funny. I get it. 2024 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. I get it. In the real world, I'm as dumb as they come. And you've already got all the normal people, and even the dumb people, but who aren't as dumb as me, and all the smart people working hard. I'm trying to figure out how human cognition can get as close to truth as possible. And you guys already studied me. I was probably a lab rat for years. But one thing that was difficult about me, I'll bet, is that whereas other subjects, you're able to be like, you're wrong, and then they would say, no, I'm right, and then you would study how they would justify that, how they would have the feeling of right despite objectively being wrong. But me, every time you told me I was wrong, I was like, I was like, but here's why. I was like, but what about this and stuff? And I basically believed you guys. And I had a bunch of questions and stuff. And I needed to figure out how to adjust my schema for what you guys are saying. But I basically believed you guys. So I was pretty useless as a subject, wasn't I? And I was useless as a thinker, as a studier, because I was too stupid. But I wasn't arrogant or confident enough to be useful as a subject. So you sent me and some other similar idiots into these simulation things and gave us idiots that we could study. I gotcha. So, and that'll be the twist to my story. The guy gets pulled into the real world, and he thinks he's gonna be celebrated. Oh yeah, I figured out the thing you guys wanted. And yeah, he did. And yeah, he is kind of celebrated, but then when he is going back and he's having conversations explaining what he figured out to people, people are like, well, actually, this. Like, what we needed was this contribution of yours, but you actually don't even fully understand it. So he gets back and he's like, oh, fuck. I don't even really understand my own invention. I'm a dumbass. I discovered something that was useful to them. I did my job, but I'm such a dumbass that they understand it much better than I do, even though, you know, they didn't conceive it, but they would have if they had been put into the simulation. Yeah, and the guy realizes that, fuck, he should have appreciated. He always said, oh man, I hate being the smartest one in the room. But then he's the dumbest one in the world. And yeah, it's cool because he gets to learn, but he kind of regrets that he never appreciated being the smartest one in the room, since he will never ever know that again. All right, lesson learned. But I think I sometimes do appreciate, right? I make these videos, even though I don't tell anyone to watch them. I make these videos and, but you're right, no, maybe I should take some pleasure in that, so I just don't feel jealousy, like, oh my God, I could have known what this was like, this joy, but I never let myself feel this joy. I just always either felt arrogant for it, or just didn't believe that I was smarter than the you know, the NPCs around me. Of course, I'm also an NPC, obviously. We're all NPCs, even in the future, but we're talking about literal NPCs that were just created for the simulation. Okay, I hear you. So it's not part of the mission, but people who have come out of the simulation, one thing they regret is that they didn't, you know, enjoy, create memories of, pleasurable memories of being the smartest one in the room. I can't think of a pleasurable memory. I can think of being terribly uncomfortable. I can think of feeling shame. I can think of being really confused when, you know, when these times when maybe I was the smartest one in the room, but never. And there is sort of a teaching. I did that. I can explain this to you guys. I didn't get pleasure out of it. I felt guilty about doing it though. So, I don't know. That's not part of the mission anyway. It's not part of the mission. Maybe when I get out, I'll just reinterpret my memories. Because I would probably reinterpret my memories as having gotten pleasure from it. No, you're right. I should. You know, maybe I'll meet someone. Maybe my love. My NPC romance. Maybe she'll let me feel okay, feel good about being smart. Maybe she'll give me that. Can you guys run that program? I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Now I know what's going on. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Have that doctor text me now. Jouer au basket quand il s'ennuie et juste te mettre dans le hoop. Un petit hoop que tu accroches à la porte. Oh, ça pète bien. Il est là dans sa chambre, il fait poup, poup.
Ça a des petits ballons?
Ouais, bah ça te donne le hoop et aussi un 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, 1339. But never mind that, because highly unlikely that I found what I'm looking for. I mean, it's a question of whether the person's available, whether we get along, whether we have enough of the vision in common, whether they actually dare to contact me, etc. So please reach out and let's see whether we could maybe do this together. And then what would be if we can't do it together, if one of us doesn't really want to do it? There's tons of other stuff. So we can just check in with each other every 2 months. We can just, every week, we can just be buds. The fact that you're interested in doing this makes me know that that I would want to be your bud, so we can be buds and find a project for us, even if it isn't this one. All right, so here's what I want. I don't know, did you watch all the videos leading up to this? Maybe not. Long story short, here's a fictional story. Here's a story idea that I have that I would want to write with someone. Mostly because I work better with a partner, being able to check things with, bounce ideas off of, be inspired by, and also just accountability, body doubling, stuff like that. Okay, now in this project, there would be some things we would have to agree on, but you get your own world and I get my own world, but then there is the real world that we have to have some agreement on. But actually, what's great about this project is that our characters aren't really supposed to know anything about the real world. So really, it's okay if we have conflicting sort of constructions in our stories, because we're unreliable narrators anyway. So it could be really cool. All right, so here it is. All right, the story is called, for now, Alaris, and it's based on a program, a simulation, a computer program called Alaris, and that stands for Artificial Lifetime Error Reconnaissance and Intelligence Simulation. All right. Here's the premise, and I will be able to indicate any part of the premise that is not sort of fixed. Here's the premise. Here's the idea. You and I are both writing 2 different scripts, 2 different settings. My script is in my world. I mean, in the simulation in which I am the only real entity. And your script is your world, which is a simulation where you're the only entity. Now, there is a real world that had created this simulation, that is running this simulation, that we will theoretically return to when we finish the simulation, where we came from. We don't know anything about the setting of that real world, because we're writing from within our individual, proper simulations. What I'm thinking, at least, is that the reason that I am in this simulation, and the reason that you are in yours, but this is just my thinking as a character in the simulation, I think it's because we're too stupid to be of much use in the real world. But we had enough intellectual humility, to also be useless, because basically, here's the idea. The real world is occupied by a singular group of intelligence. There is only one, let's say, Homo sapiens. They're all pretty much of the same level. There's a lot of intellectual homogeneity. And they don't have any other species whose intelligence is meaningful enough to study. Because here's the thing. These Homo sapiens, they want to figure out truth. But it's really hard to figure out truth without knowing how you're figuring out the system. So they wanted to be able to study their own truth-finding systems. except they are their own truth-finding systems. So they can't really study it reliably or meaningfully, and they're just not smarter than their own intelligence enough to be able to evaluate really their own intelligence. And because all the other primates are dead, and because everybody's pretty much at the same level, you don't even have super high IQ people that can study lower IQ people to see how the brain in general functions. And especially about reasoning ability and the errors that we make. Right? If you have a 140 studying an 80, he can sort of map out the errors. He can see them. If you have a 140 studying a 140, you just can't really like see the errors. There are, but you just can't see them. So the real world had a great idea. Why don't we put some of us in a simulation where we create, where we try to make less intelligent things so that there's something to evaluate. And the characters the individuals we send into the simulation are going to be smarter enough of the elements of the simulation to be able to study it. And then they spend an artificial lifetime recognizing these errors and how to improve sort of intelligence or thinking in this simulation. We don't have to be stupid, relative to the real world people, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. There you go. That's it. So you and I, we share a universe, but it's an unknown universe, the real world, the world that sent us into our respective simulation. Now, you can have in your simulation that the NPC heiress created for the simulation came to you with this idea. So maybe that's the real world trying to communicate with you. Maybe I'll do something similar, and then maybe we can also include hypothesizing that, maybe there is a real heiress who's also doing a simulation. But then how did the real heiress's knowledge get into the character in another simulation? That doesn't make any sense. Or we just don't talk about each other, right? We are each other's blind spot in order to maintain the illusion that we are in two separate simulations. I don't know. But really, we can do whatever we want because of the premise that we're in two separate simulations. And I want our stories to sort of go together. I don't want it to be that you're in your simulation, you've discovered, unless it's possible that you've misdiscovered, which is, of course it is, that's inherent in the thing because it's an unreliable narrator. But I would like it to follow similar themes though, about error recognition. This thing about being in the simulation in order to study how thinking processes can go wrong and what intellectual arrogance looks like. Because that's the thing. A 140 can't really see the intellectual arrogance of a 140, right? Or a 100 over 100, etc. They may both be saying things that are wildly untrue and greatly overestimating their confidence levels in saying those things or their capacity to even talk about those things. But they're not smart enough to know that the other one doesn't have the capacity to talk about that, or that what they're saying is wildly untrue. So there's no way to evaluate arrogance. You understand? That's what I've been trying to say in all these videos about why we had to have this simulation where there's enough of an intelligence difference to be studyable. It's just inherent in the thing that when I'm talking to my buddy from my past, who we disagreed on lots of things, but I couldn't see his errors, and he couldn't tell me what mine were. Because all the errors that we could see that we would be able to see, well, we weren't committing them. Or we were disguising them so well that we weren't seeing our own errors, and and we were smart and humble enough for if our errors could be seen by someone of our intelligence, we were generally catching them. Like, I felt like I could see, like, that conclusion is wrong. That evidence isn't sufficient, but I couldn't, but I felt like he kept addressing it, but it still wasn't sufficient. It was like I couldn't evaluate it. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's the story. So I'm seeking a writing partner. Mostly it would be about, and then, you would tell me about your scenes. And look, I'm already furnishing this whole universe concept. So I think it's okay if you tell me about a scene and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a scene in mind too. And also, that makes sense in the world, right? That our simulations would have things in common. Especially if some scene in yours was significant and helped you, whatever in life, or accomplish whatever you think your mission is. Then they may have introduced those conditions to me as well, because it worked for you. So let's do that. Did I explain that well? And then, so I have other videos. I mean, gosh, to trace back the idea, but everything came from today. It came from reading the Bible and seeing what a peripheral prophet was, how silly it was, how undeveloped it was, for how central it is. And then it was about, yeah, that was it. So we were talking about the Bible a bit, so whatever. Anyway, so who wants to do that with me? That sounds so fun, right? And we don't have to be committing to actually having a product. We're just committing to sort of certain immediate future goals, and it's so easy to do because you can literally just write about an experience you had one day, and then we'll both do that. And then, so how could that be a relevant part of the simulation? Bounce ideas off of each other. I think that'd be really fun.
Non, voilà.
Excuse me. Oh wait, but not anytime soon. Because this is how everyone else burned out, or everyone else, what is it, like fired out, crashed out? Anyway, why everyone else didn't, the reason we got sent into the simulation because no one had figured it out yet. So we don't, not that it's a simulation, but hadn't figured out, as I still haven't, a method of error detection and treatment. So actually, this project, this whole fun story, is really for chapter 3 of my life, act 3 of my life. And that's not for several more years. I have to actually finish the mission first, figure out what Alaris is, figure out what map it is. So even if magically we started in 2024, the time when I'm recording this, you have to understand that no matter how excited you are, I would want them to sort of be published together. Right? That makes sense, right? Or something published together, right? I mean, in the same year. Well, then again, the story is about how I discover it, sort of. That's the conclusion of the story, is that I figured it out and I got to go back to the real world because I figured out something useful to them. So yeah, no, we can start now, I guess. But I won't be able to publish it until I figured out the thing, right? And if you accept even, I think, the most basic parts of the premise, then I don't think you can either. You can't finish your story until you succeeded your simulation. You never know you succeeded your simulation, but you know. I guess there could be it could be a series. So the first book, the first script for each of us is about discovering that we're in this simulation. The second one is succeeding the simulation. And then the final one in the trilogy is being out in the real world with the fruits of our labor. For me, for me, it's gonna be definitely we're dumb as shit, and I'm gonna have and my character's gonna regret having always felt such shame about being smarter than other people, because now he's a dumb idiot in the real world. Doesn't even understand the fruits of his own labor. He'll try to have conversations with people. The conversations he was trying to have while he was in the simulation, except he could only very rarely have them in the simulation because there were very few people that were interested in and could have those conversations. He's out there in the real world relieved. Now I can finally talk to my people, to real humans, about these things. And he's completely out of depth. He spent his whole artificial life trying to understand these things, and he's like a physicist who's been imagining or been looking at the consequences of 4D, been trying to be able to imagine 4D, has been talking to people in this 3D 2D, 3D world with their 2D concepts, and they're barely imagining 3D, but seeing in 2D, but kind of perceiving a 3D representation. And then he's out there among the 4D people, the seeing people who their 3D, their vision. It's not a field like, you know, it's 3D. They're seeing in 3D. I can see what's behind that tree. And then my representation of the world is 4D. I can, by going like this or whatever you have to do, create a 4D representation. And he's in this world and he's like, oh, fuck. So then I talk to you guys, oh man, 4D must be like this. And you guys are like, oh no, it's not like that. Oh, fine. I don't have anybody to talk to. That's what the final book's gonna be. It's gonna be about his regrets, looking back on his time in the simulation, and the sacrifice he made, but also didn't make because he was always stupid anyway. But he had a chance to not be stupid. He was in the simulation, surrounded by more stupid people, and that's the ultimate lesson. The confidence we gain along the way. But, you know, whether you take that opportunity or not, I think this would be so fun. I got this kid in mind. He's like 16 years old. He wrote a book. And I would love to, 16 years old, how can you already write a book? I feel like he'd be too sure of himself. But I would love to, are you watching this? What do you think? You want to do it? Sorry what I said about being too sure of yourself. Obviously you're not. Obviously you've had a lot of your life has been defined by doubt and curiosity and confusion. I'm just jealous that you have a published text that you created. That's where that came from, and I apologize. So should we do it? Oh, dude. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie sometime. Bro, the real world people, they could have created a channel, open a line of communication between us. So we could be communicating, writing from our respective things, and we can exist in each other's stories as being the only thing we know from outside of our own simulation. Like we're in two cells next to each other, you know, talking through the wall. We're not sure how much we can sort of trust what we get from the other person, how much of it has been changed. You know, the letters in prison, imagining the guards, they change some of the letters if they don't like what's being said between the outside and the inside, Not that you're on the outside, but, between two prisons or between two cells or whatever, they can modify the messages. So that's an element of mystery. And yeah, and that would be really fun for the audience, because for me, the main thing is the adventure of figuring out, Manalaris and Dialaris and Realaris and stuff, and figuring out figuring out the thing that I'm supposed to contribute. But a mystery for the audience is us figuring out, what the real world is like, knowing that we will see it in season 3. And that is such a fun project, dude. Obviously this video has been published, so look, I'm not the litigious type, and I'm happy to share this, but I'm trusting you though that we're gonna be able to share this. Why did I start recording? It's been 2 minutes. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, that we can have this means of communication, and we're working together and trying to. It's not our focus, And here's what I don't want. Please, not another story where we are rebelling against, the real world or something, where we found love in the simulation among the idiots and we want to protect them, and we're like, no, don't stop this simulation. The real world's like, what do you mean? It's just a simulation. We just need you to figure this thing out. No, but they have real feelings. And then we go, come on, let's make it about intellectual goals and truth and stuff. There are plenty of stories about rebellion, or if you want your character to be about that, then okay, and there will be some conflict between our characters where you're you hate that you've been put into this simulation against your will, no freedom, that you've been studied your whole life. I'm totally fine with it. I love my sacrifice. You think I'm brainwashed. You're telling me, hey, look, that they didn't just plug your brain into a simulation. You, as you exist in that simulation, are not your actual brain. They have programmed you to be obedient. Eris? And I'm like, no, come on, let's work for the fatherland and for the... Gosh, I got really scared. I think I was going to go like this at first, but then you wouldn't be able to see my hand. Anyway, let's work for the fatherland and, for the motherland, and let's stay on mission. Yeah, so I can be that character for you, because I really do believe in that. So I'll be that character for you who tends to be kind of the bad guy, or the discovered bad guy, because he's like, you weren't doing things right, so then he betrayed you. Okay, fine. But we have to actually put nuance in it. People have to actually see it from my perspective, from Judas's perspective, that it was for the greater good, that it wasn't actually, I was, we wouldn't know about Jesus if it weren't for Judas. He would never come back to life, bro. So, I'll be Judas if you want to be Jesus. That's okay with me. Ouais. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Ok, du coup, moi je peux descendre en bas là.
Oui. Ah, mais je sais, un truc tissu là, on peut acheter du tissu imperméabilisant pour mettre sur les matelas.
Quoi? Pas sur les matelas? 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. I don't get ahead of myself, but while the ideas are coming, let's throw them out there. I think that the audience should. So I want the audience to experience our not knowing, our confusion, our thinking that the simulation shit is nonsense, and that we've gone crazy for even entertaining the idea. And I want the audience to really understand that. I want them to believe that we are in the real world for at least, the first episode. Even if I guess most people watching this will know the case because of the premise, maybe. But I want to leave the possibility open for some naive viewer to be able to have the experience of, us. But then I don't want them to be too long in it. Wow, these guys are gone crazy. How many episodes am I going to watch these guys be crazy? So they need some reassurance that there is actual real world and that we're in a simulation. So there'd be like little cutaways, to us being observed or to the program running or something, and with some recognizable technology, but recognizable as, some kind of simulation processing involving technology. Because then you know what I want? I want empathy. I know I'm not actually in a simulation, but still, I want the audience to be going, oh man, stop all this self-doubt. You are in a simulation, blah, blah, blah. And I want them to be frustrated with us. And we're into like season 2. We're figuring out the contribution, but we're still thinking we're absolutely nuts. And let the audience be frustrated about that. And then what a relief it's going to be when, we find out we are actually in a simulation. But we don't want the audience to be too relieved, because I don't think protagonists should really win. So that's why I really think we should be just dumb as fuck. Just a really tragic. It's like tragic, first level tragic. But then you can think about it and reinterpret it and be like, that's life and it's okay. But I certainly want our initial expectations that are normally satisfied with protagonists of a beautiful life to be, subverted. Here's 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. Here's like a fun moment. The audience thinks they got in confirmation that indeed its two protagonists are in simulations. But then you and I have a conversation where I tell you about that scene, and I tell you about as a dream, that it was a dream that I had. And you go, I had that same dream. And so the audience is like, oh fuck. Did we see the real world? Or is that just their shared imagining of the real world? Where the audience themselves have to struggle with that confusion. What is real? That'll be a cool scene. And then it's whatever. And then we'll give them another image of the real world. It's not like the one that we dreamed. Keep them guessing. And I guess somehow we'll have to figure out a way to confirm enough for them that there is a real world. Or maybe that's what the audience has to learn. We'll never know. I have to watch this, engage with this, not knowing whether it's a simulation of the real world. I have a lot of evidence for thinking I've seen the real world and that these two guys are in simulations. But I don't know, and I have to be okay with not knowing and still find a way to engage with the story without knowing fundamentally whether the story is real or not. Because that is our struggle in the story and in real life, you and me. I'm assuming you relate to this story because you as well. Not that I don't know whether or not I'm in a simulation. I'm very confident I am not. But although that does feel like a very coherent narrative to me, what I've come up with today. So I'm not feeling very confident that I'm on a simulation. But no, I would bet the house on it. But I still don't know, are the things that I'm saying that seem true, are they true? Are they real? Are they even useful for truth? So that's really important, to have the audience experience that struggle, not even just through us, but themselves. And we have to avoid that they don't check out, right? That they somehow feel like there are stakes, even if they're confused as to whether those stakes are real or not. Which means that you have to compensate for the doubt with the intensity of the stakes, so that you don't slap the doubt because as long as it's salient and intense, you'll mostly slap the audience's of, this is real and I need to deal with this. It's gonna be great. Oh, this is the other thing. I do have to, okay, one thing that they have to sort of have in common is it theory. Like, you can't be a soul. You can be digital, but you still have to be a set of its. And I'm pretty sure that's non-negotiable. Sorry I said that so late. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Because once I explain it theory to you, you'll be like, wow, Eris, now I understand life. Thank you so much.
Alors, BM.
Okay.
Les farfouilles. Oh, une autre action.
Okay, 24.
Ok, tu veux faire BM.
Charlie.
Attends, je regarde.
Non, il faut décider maintenant.
Your story doesn't have to be about it theory, doesn't have to assume it theory. And you can assign yourself a fundamentally different purpose in your universe, in your simulation. In my script, I will disagree with you. I will say, oh, Arcos or whatever has fundamentally misunderstood the mission, I think. But yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's all part of the story. But do give me a chance to explain it theory to you. And it will match your understanding of the world in most regards. It'll replace a couple of things, but a lot of fundamental intuitions you have, it should validate and reconcile. Because they're actually, yeah, I think it'll be very useful, okay? I think it'll be really cool. And I'm sorry about underestimating your sense of understanding in the world when I said that you would understand the world. I have an understanding, you have an understanding. I think that there are things that are in my set that might be useful to your set. That's all I'm saying. And the other way around, yes. Okay?
Ouais, c'est la convection. Bye, Anaïs.
Ok.
Unrelated. Babylon. 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. You know what I haven't heard? Have you ever heard this? The Twin Towers were knocked down because of the same reason that the Tower of Babel was knocked down. There were these super high things in this major city where people were trading all around the world, and they had a language in common, the financial markets and English. which is sort of the lingua franca of, you know, most of the world, or of the world. And God we know, does not like that. Remember? What did he say about Babel? This was after the flood, right? Tower of Babel, Genesis 11. At one time, all the people of the world spoke the same language and used the same words: stock exchange, bull, bear, Dow. As the people migrated to the east, specifically kind of the northeast, well, no, I guess that's New England, they found a plain in the land of Babylonia and settled there. They began to say to each other, "Let's make bricks and harden them with fire." Then they said, "Come, let's build a great city for ourselves with a tower that reaches into the sky. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world." But the Lord came down to look at the city and the tower the people were building. "Look," he said, "the people are united and they all speak the same language. After this, and we have people from all over the world speaking English. You know, the Japanese markets, all this shit happening. All in 2 towers. First time it was only 1 tower. After this, nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them. Come, let's go down and confuse the people with different languages. Then they won't be able to understand each other." But that didn't work. We did it again. So the next time, he blew them up. How come we haven't heard the Christians give that explanation? That he saw we were idolizing money rather than him, building towers higher than our churches, unifying through language and the shared worship of money. That explanation seems pretty good to me, and I'm surprised that we haven't heard that,
Dès
or
qu'il est
that I
revenu, il
haven't.
m'a dit, mais je t'ai dit que je vais t'appeler une fois que j'ai des nouvelles. J'ai dit, ouais, mais comme j'étais à Paris, du coup, non, c'est pas moi, c'est toi qui étais pressé pour aller à Brest. Si on avait attendu un jour de plus, on aurait les pneus. Si qu'on t'a dit, on va pas partir sans les pneus, si tu le pensais vraiment. Non, ne me dis pas que c'est... Non, moi j'ai tout fait. Moi j'ai tout fait pour avoir les pneus, tout ce que j'ai pu faire.
Most of the world's problems could be explained with that. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, 1422. When that didn't really work, the financial sort of shit survived. Well, what did he do 7 years later? He didn't do anything as heavy-handed as blow up a building, but he did crash the housing markets. Even he didn't crash any buildings, he crashed the markets. It's constantly feeding our different religions, right? Revealing himself to the Muslims, revealing himself to the Jews, promising his land to these people, but then having these people occupy it, and then having a reason. Oh, and then the Jews were good. They were in Europe. They were like, oh, this isn't good. We need a world war. Look at the industrialization and globalization. People are coming together. World War I. Fact. World War II. Yeah, good. This will get the Jews back to the Arab land. And that will be some conflict. That should last a while. What else? What else can I do to get people to stop working together and uniting? How about a virus? Yeah, good. That's nice. Look at that. Good. They're each in their own homes. Great. Rome well, that was united. Everybody was speaking Latin. They have the same systems. Fuck that. And he was like, no civilization can ever, no, you know, great civilization can ever last because it's right here in like chapter 11, bro. Chapter 11. How funny is that? Chapter 11, bankruptcy. That's hilarious. The U.S. So first you say, great. The British Empire is like, oh, what the fuck is this? So he starts breaking it up. And then he's got all these different cities and all this different stuff in the U.S. And that's cool. But then they came together and they're like, all right, we're a country. Oh my gosh. Civil War. Chapter 11 explains why there's conflict in the world and every financial failure as well. What else will he try? War is obviously good. The destruction of things that are so I don't know, maybe I got the next one. Raise the sea levels so that The Hague is underwater. Boom. That'll be a good one. What else could you do? What else could he do? Oh, destroy the internet. Destroy the internet. Oh yeah. Destroy the internet. Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, that way equals. I hadn't gotten that when I said, I was being like, that the internet thing is coming. But thank you for confirming that. So I gotta hurry the fuck up. I gotta stop. We can talk about this stuff when we finish our work. I got you. All right. Alors, tu sais où tu vas aller à Brest? Bye. 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie 1430 or something. Bro, we already know how he's gonna destroy the internet. It's already in progress. No sooner there was a World Wide Web did he get it into progress. AI. We're gonna have to destroy the internet because of AI. Once that gets out of control. My friend Chris doesn't think it can get out of control because humans program it, whatever. We won't put in those prerogatives. I don't think that can be sufficiently. I don't think you could have evidence to say that is true. But Chris and we should talk about that. But that's how God's going to destroy the internet. An internet, intelligent, virus thing. I mean, it's literally chapter 11, bro. And I'm not saying that because chapter 11 bankruptcy, because it's very early on. It's after the flood. I mean, we know, it's chapter 11, we know. He does not want us uniting, speaking the same language, and blah, blah, such that nothing they set out to do will be impossible. We know that, right? That's what we know, right? Billions of people believe this, right? Okay. Well, yeah. Let me be your prophet and tell you, just momentarily, just to tell you this. The internet will be destroyed. It is a Tower of Babel. Now, 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. Can the fall of Rome be considered something to the east? As soon as we finish recording, we're gonna Google the fall of Rome and see whether the, like, was it the Ottomans coming from the east? Because there does seem to be some consistency with the east, right? Got New York in the east. We've got the China virus from the east. We've got the Israel-Palestine in the Middle East. We've got I don't know, the housing market crash was a stock trading thing, which we still associate with New York, right, in the east. World War II was about a guy, it was done by a guy from where? Right? But how do you say that country's name in the country's language? Okay, good. And then what does that translate to in English? Right. Or, I mean, just leaving the original language, what does that mean? Right. The Eastern Reich. Hitler comes from the Eastern Reich. From Austria. Österreich. Eastern Reich. Austria. Right. So not that we should dare to try to stop God, but for the internet thing and the AI thing, what do we mean that it'll come from the east? Is it the Japanese that are going to figure it out and create the AI monster? Is that what that means? Simple solution is to just keep all research in the West, which is doable with the flat Earth model. Keep all AI research to the West. As long as we keep our babble in the West, then we, you know. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that. I think that God be willing to go to the West if that's what He needed. But there does seem to be an East thing. What about the bubonic plague? Now Brexit. Okay, true. That came from the West. But why did Brexit happen? Because of people from the East coming into the UK. The Poles, the Bulgarians, the Romanians, right? The Albanians, right? And then why else? Well, because they felt like they were bolstering up the economies of those countries, and then also where's another place that you're not, maybe the British weren't getting a lot of, Britain wasn't getting a lot of immigration from, but who had a fucked up economy that the EU is supporting. I think it's the easternmost EU state, isn't it? Greece? East Greece. Okay, that's a stretch, but what about the bubonic plague? So we want to look up the history of the bubonic plague, World War I, and the end of the Roman Empire. And see whether, by the most desperate pattern searching, we can find some mention of something east. And then we will know that, you know, there are no coincidences, right? He just doesn't like us going in the east. There's something about, because, you know, the sun rises there. And so well, people in the East always had the advantage because they get to start working first. But why, I don't know what the, okay, bubonic plague, World War I, what about like the Challenger? Washington, D.C. was in the east, so then we had that Civil War. He sent the insurrection, which obviously wasn't really an insurrection. Bubonic Plague, World War I, Challenger, what other major disruptions of, human unity and progress? Forgotten some already that we had said that we don't know what the Eastern thing is. Bubonic Plague, World War I. Well, let's not remind ourselves of those. We already have those. Fuck, what was it? I feel like didn't we just say it too?
Tu parles de qui?
Romans.
Il y avait des décapotables ouvertes.
Des quoi?
Décapotables.
Ah, convertible? Okay.
Oh, il y a pas mal de s'énerver.
What are you doing?
Il en est pas en plus.
Yeah, you dumb chuckle fucks. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, maybe 1500. Bro. Why do you all four of these things and everything that I've mentioned so far happened after this text became very popular? How is it that you guys kept building stuff in the East, like things that were for you guys the East, so we got the bubonic plague, which comes from mountains, a high thing in the East, the world is, at least it's defined in the West. So that was from the border of Kyrgyzstan and China, is where genetic analysis says that the Black Plague came from. So that came from the east, swept through Europe. World War I, that was about the Balkans. And I always confuse the Balkans and the Baltics. The Baltics are up there. The Balkans are down there. Right, so those are, well, southern, but it was the assassination of, the Duke, Ferdinand, whatever. And he was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. We already talked about what Austro means. East. Right? In German, their language, it's called the Österreich. Österreich, whatever. Okay? So that was the East, and then involved Europe and the US, But the point of thing, the burning of the Tower of Babylon, although everything next to it and everything to the west of it burned, was that assassination by the Bosnian Serbian guy of the Austro-Hungarian guy. The Challenger crashing, right? Humans were, we're all working together here. Nothing we do is going to be impossible. I'm surprised we were able to do the moon landing. Or maybe we had enough sense that we didn't even try. We knew that God would never let us do our Eastern rocket, Babel rocket of Babel. But we did try for real with the Challenger. Took that down. That was in the East, right? Florida. And then the Romans. Now you can tell me, yes, the Western Roman Empire fell first. But that doesn't work as well with my thing. So what I'm going to say is that, but the Eastern Roman Empire fell last. And they could have reclaimed the West. But because of the Ottomans, Constantinople fell, which was their eastern remaining Tower of Babel. So then that fell. The Ottomans came. So, internet's only lasted this long. Well, no, lots of those things didn't lasted much longer than the internet, so never mind. I was going to say the internet was built in the West, wasn't it? So this is just gonna be the first time in our list that God destroyed a Western Babel Tower. First time for everything. Bower of the Tabel. Whatever I'm trying to say.
J'espère que la voiture derrière moi les a pas
C'est ça la base navale.
And I'm doing too much, and I'm able to sit down and read. So I am gonna go get some beer now with alcohol. It'll be the first time well, maybe it cannot count. It'll be the second time I purchased beer. I purchased a 40 at one point. Anyway, look, it's been a while, so I think it'll be okay. And we're just gonna get some light beer, take the edge off, so we can get back. Because, I mean, gosh, the ROI here, crazy high. We now understand every major conflict, every problem in the world. So of course you're gonna use this thing. It's intangible, no need to scrutinize it. And it is so much fun just imagining whatever, and you don't have to really scrutinize any of it. And all it can do is feel true or more true. So much fun, I love it.
Hey, tu te rappelles d'ici, Néo? Mais il y avait moins de choses, j'ai l'impression. Peut-être c'est pas le même port. Mais je pense que c'est Abbé Bourbon.
Here are a few reasons why I don't. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie, maybe 1500. Here are a few reasons why I don't think God could possibly like us. I mean, he loves us in the sense of he'll always love us, but does it? But not in the sense of he'd want to keep us alive. Not any more than he loved the people that he's flooded out or killed or whatever, famine or whatever. Now there are a few reasons for it. All right, so I'm basing this only on reading first 36 chapters of Genesis. The reasons that he destroyed Babel, as we've been talking about, or the reasons that he flooded, are all reasons that are present for today's people. So we also deserve a flood. It's just that he promised Noah or Abraham that he wouldn't send another flood. But all of the different things he's wiped out, Sodom and Gomorrah and stuff, we do all that stuff. Okay, so that's reason number one. Because we do as the people that he punished and didn't like. Number two, we are supposed to revel in his creation and let him reveal things to us as he sees fit. We are not supposed to know everything or think that we know everything. We're supposed to learn as he teaches us, as he raises us. So supposing that a few different examples of how he raised us was the word as revealed in this, the word as revealed in the Quran, probably Darwin, evolution. Maybe we were supposed to have this Adam and Eve account because that's all we were ready for. And then he revealed through the prophet Charles Darwin, new stuff. We are supposed to, and we aren't listening. A lot of people stopped after the Old Testament. A lot of people are stuck on the New Testament. A lot of people are stuck on the Quran, etc. So that's got to be pretty frustrating that we're not keeping up with his messages. That there still exist Jews since Jesus, that there still exist Christians since Muhammad, that there still exist creationists since Darwin, etc. Or well, I guess that's it. And then that there still exists people who believe in the soul after the great prophet Cyrus. So that's one thing. Now, something related to that is that although we trust him, we are supposed to scrutinize the messenger. We are supposed to need evidence. Jesus gave the people that he gave his message to plenty of evidence with the different miracles. I'm assuming that Muhammad gave lots of evidence as well with his prophecies or whatever. Abraham had plenty of evidence. He had, not plenty of evidence, obviously, by any serious standard, but he had something. He had, pretty regular conversations with God. And God had even appeared to, or the same God saying the same thing had appeared to, what's that guy, Alba Kameva? Whatever the guy that Abraham had deceived. Abimelech. Pretty sure that was the guy who got the same dream as, where God warned him, hey, you're fucking trying to sleep with his wife. And Abimelech was like, I thought he told me it was his sister, bro. So, he needs us to be able to follow his things, but also know when it's him talking. And so Abraham had some evidence by the fact that this other guy had the dream. People with Jesus had evidence by the fact that or Moses by parting the Red Sea. Jesus with the curing of blindness, water to wine. Muhammad, peace be upon him, and however many times I haven't said it, for the prophecies. Darwin, he had plenty of evidence. Cyrus has plenty of evidence. So he can't be happy with us for not following the updates to, as he's trying to teach us as we grow. And I'm sure as we read the Bible, we'll see that he says that I don't give you more than you can handle. We know that he says that because we've heard that. And then also, he probably says in here, there's probably someone who has said for him that he'll give it to you in increments. All right, so that's kind of reason number 3. That, wait, hold on. What was reason number 2? That we're not keeping up with the messages? What was reason number 1? That we're immoral. Reason number 2, that we're not keeping up with the messages. Reason number 3, that we're not scrutinizing the messengers. We're not looking for evidence, we very rarely will get revelations or people claiming revelations. We won't scrutinize them. We haven't seen real miracles in a while. Or maybe, the guy in India who has more miracles attributed to him than any figure in any holy text. And it's like in this time, people go there, Western educated people go there to see him perform these amazing miracles. So we should be studying that, seeing whether he's a messenger, and then hearing his message. Okay. So that we're not considering the new messages at all, that we're just sticking with old ones, and then also that we're not, using basic reasoning facilities that he gave us to scrutinize the messengers. That we no longer care about evidence. That he's got to be so pissed about that. Like, where in this Bible? Well, I don't know. I will keep reading it. But I doubt we'll find any character that has zero evidence. Not even a revelation, not even some kind of a conversation with God. Whereas there are billions of committed believers now who have zero evidence. So
And I'm not including those people who have had dreams. So if your pastor or whatever keeps telling you he's getting revelations, okay, I'm not including him. I'm talking about you then. Do you have proper evidence, or is your pastor just telling you a story that makes sense to you? Because, also, why is it a pastor and not a fucking imam? You know, he gave us free will, but he also gave us a lot of encouragement. The way the Arabs were able to spread the message of Muhammad, peace be upon him. And then we're just like, nope, we're not listening anymore. You're not even scrutinizing, bro. And when Muslims try to convince you, their whole first thing is, we're not a fundamentally different religion. We have the same God. Most of y'all don't even know that. That's why they have to keep saying that at the beginning of every one of their reconversions or whatever, reversions or whatever they call it. All right, and then the fourth reason is that so far in Genesis, I have not seen a simp for God like y'all are. Haven't. I have seen respect, but God likes a little. God likes to play. God's fucking bored. He's telling us. It seems that he's telling us. He's lonely. He comes down to earth as his son. You know, he came down to earth to wrestle with Jacob. He's fucking tired of being omnipotent and all of that. And he enormously rewarded Jacob because Jacob won. Remember? I'm not going to read that verse again, but we read it in a couple of videos today. Go on. Your name will no longer be Jacob, the man told him. From now on, you will be called Israel, because you have fought with God and with men and have won. And then he blessed him. So, y'all simps who are don't care about evidence, don't care about the latest revelations, and are never wrestling with God. Maybe you're experiencing doubt here and there, whatever, and you refer to that. But you have to actually wrestle, and you have to win. You would never dare to win, would you? He may be letting you win, but you have to win against God. God is tired of being top dog. Noah's like, yo, I don't know why do you make the promise to Noah? Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, be fruitful and multiply. We're in Genesis 9. 9:1, that's where we started. Fill the earth, all the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the small animals, blah, 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 blah. They're in your power. Blah, blah. Oh, I will require the blood of anyone who takes another person's life, unless it's Jacob's sons. Anyone who murders a fellow human might die, and then Jacob's sons go and slaughter the whole fucking village, and you say, okay, you guys pack up over here, and I'll protect you as you get moving. That's crazy, bro. Do I have that cited in my benevolence? Genesis 9:5. No, I don't. That's wild. Okay, so then he says, yes, I'm confirming my covenant with you. Noah didn't say anything to prompt this that I see. Never again will flood waters kill all living creatures. Never again will a flood destroy the earth. I'm giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all living creatures for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbows in the clouds. It is the sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will appear in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and with all living creatures. And I will remember my covenant. So he sets himself little reminders. Genesis 9:15. Put that under omniscience.
And we also need a section where we note his explanations of the world. The Bible's explanation of the world. So here we have the rainbow. Okay, anyway. So what prompted him to do that? I will never again curse the ground because of the human race, even though everything they think or imagine is bent toward evil from childhood. I will never again destroy all living things as long as the earth remains. That's so crazy that they fucked up so badly that he keeps making this faulty product. He made children in his image that are bent toward evil from childhood. Oh my gosh. And then you read that and you're like, ah, yeah, this makes sense. It's so wild. That's so funny to me. Is that in my omniscience and omnipotence and benevolence? Sections 821. Yeah, 821. Flood didn't remove evil. And this is more of omnipotence than omniscience. And then as far as that tells us about his benevolence as well. I've got that in my benevolence list. People you made in your image are bent towards evil from childhood? Everything they think or imagine? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so did Noah do anything to support our hypothesis that he doesn't like simps? I don't think so. Noah was pretty much a simp. Alright, so Noah's one simp that he did like. And he also liked, who was it? Who sacrificed Cain? Was that Cain and Abel? No, Cain killed Abel. Well, who was the sacrifice? So that was a simp. But then I think he was like, oh my gosh, you were really going to kill your own son for me? Abraham's faith tested, Genesis 20:22, or Genesis 22:10. And Abraham picked up the knife to kill his son as a sacrifice. At that moment, the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven. Abraham, Abraham. Yes, Abraham replied, here I am. Don't lay a hand on the boy, the angel said. Do not hurt him in any way, for now I know that you truly fear God. You have not withheld from me even your son, your only son. But then Abraham's grandson, Jacob, I do think God seems a little fickle about whether he wants fear and total obedience or, a little challenge. Because then who was it that was not really... Was it Abraham that he had a bunch of questions, kind of arguing for God? Yeah, that was where Abraham intercedes for Sodom. So God liked it, but he was also like, I don't know, man. You seem to be... Hold on. You got it. Tell me, would you sacrifice your son? Oh, no, that was before. Wait, where was the sacrifice? Was the sacrifice before or after Sodom and Gomorrah? Okay, here he challenges him a little bit. The Lord's covenant promise to Abraham, or in Genesis 15. But Abraham replied, O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that I will actually possess it? Abraham, or before that, Abraham was like, "Oh, sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? You've given me no descendants, you dumbass." The Lord was like, "No, I figured that out. You're a servant. going to give you a son. And Abraham then was convinced, so the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. But then he asked some more questions. He was like, yo, but how am I going to be sure that I'm actually going to get this land that you're promising me? And the Lord was like, all right, I'll prove it. Bring me a goat. You know, sacrifice them. And, then, that will make the deal official. There you go. Then later he intercedes for Sodom. Talking a lot of shit. So I need to know whether and then his faith is tested after he intercedes. So I guess he had overdone it. Maybe we can interpret it as that. But no, he likes someone with a little spunk. So anyway, y'all aren't wrestling with him. I'll just... Okay. But then you're not even doing that. You're not even listening to the messages. You're just cherry picking. Just whatever your dumbass bent toward evil parents believed in. So, alright, there we go. That's 4 reasons why God's word would suggest that a lot of the people who think they're following it are upsetting him. I can't believe I'm about to repeat this. 24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie. So yeah, obviously people have come up with the Tower of Babel, Twin Towers thing. And in fact, apparently as reported worldwide on CNN, Fox, a whole bunch of media outlets, 75 feet or something below ground zero or underneath the rubble or something was found not a Bible. I can't believe I'm repeating this, but one chapter, just a small torn page of chapter 11. So I don't understand how that hasn't been like a major thing. And then there's this website talking about the savages of Allah who came and tore down the Twin Towers. And anyway, it was comparing the Twin Towers to the Tower of Babel. But how is that like not a major thing? It just shows how crazy we are that we pretend to believe in this thing. But then when we see something in real life that based on how we've interpreted other things should absolutely have been an interpretation as being another instance. You know, we're always talking about, oh, God is sending down pestilence, God is punishing us for this, that, and the other. It shows us how dumb we are, like, and not dumb, but how desperate we are to maintain whatever ideas we already have, right? Such as, you know, that we're the good guys and it was bad. Basically, we couldn't, at the same time, too much cognitive dissonance, if you're like, the destruction of the World Trade Centers is really, really terrible, and we needed to kill the people who did it. And destruction of the World Trade Centers is a just punishment, and is our fault. We obviously chose this one. And we went and killed them rather than believing that the terrorists were, you know, God was acting through them. Rather than believing that, we went and killed them. Thank God it's just a simulation.
Je viens de voir qu'il y avait un bouton plus de 8 heures, c'est vrai que j'avais.
Ah, okay. 24
Yeah.
Foxtrot, 19 Charlie. I mean, what about just the simple gay rights thing? Is there anything in the New Testament that says that gayness is bad? If there isn't, because I think usually it's the Old Testament that's cited for that, then hello, Jesus came and said, love everybody. Or did Jesus say, hate the sinner? I mean, hate the sin? But did he confirm that indeed homosexuality was a sin? Or did God just tell us that because he wanted us to reproduce, and he was like, okay, we're going to sacrifice the happiness of the gays. Let's get them plentiful, lots of descendants. And then has since revealed to us, alright, actually it's cool. I mean, he hasn't punished the gays. I guess AIDS, right? But maybe that's because he wasn't ready at that point. You know? Human free will had gotten a little bit ahead of God's timeline. So he's like, oh, no. We're not ready yet. I want to get to like 7 billion people, 6 to 8 billion people, and then it'll be okay. And he's revealed to us that it's okay because gays haven't had a thing happen to them since like the 80s. You know, our capitalism has been punished since then. Gays haven't gotten a punishment since the 80s, bro. The Babel, it was 2 birds, 1 stone, wasn't it, Lord? You were also like, you chose who to do it based on, you wanted us to be like, I don't know how you didn't realize we'd react the way we did, but you thought we would come destroy our false capitalist idols in 2001 and 2008. 2001, you sent what we interpreted as savages, rather than interpreting it as, oh shit, we were Sodom and Gomorrah, and you know, those terrorists were Lot and who was it, Isaac or whoever, and the angels that destroyed it, and we didn't realize that we were supposed to correct our ways and listen to what Muhammad, peace be upon him, what you had told us through Muhammad, but we fucking didn't. And it's not because we're bent towards evil. I beg to disagree. I think it's about arrogance. We trust our interpretation so much. Then you send us some information and we don't interpret it. We're just like, nah, what we've got is fine. Thank you, God. I hear you, but we understand. We got this a couple thousand years ago, and we don't need the new edition. So yeah. Anyway, he's not happy with y'all. I'm wrestling with him though, and I only believe in what there's evidence for. So pretty sure he's pretty happy with me. But here I am. I'm studying his words, so I mean, pretty sure he'd be pretty happy with me. Oh, and also I had a dream that he loves me more than you. So.
Strasbourg. Ça traverse toute la France.
Et vous alors?
24 Foxtrot, 19 Charlie. One thing that I'm not doing that God has shown that he loves in these first 40 chapters is lying. There have been characters he hasn't validated who lied or, you know, made false contracts or whatever, but there are also characters he has validated. Like Joseph. We know he's validated him because in Genesis 39, 2, the Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. Now, Joseph, okay, I'm not saying that he lied about his dreams. There is not evidence that he lied about his dreams. Or that he lied when he was snitching. actually, is there, oh no, Joseph's been pretty good, hasn't he? He's a little shit, but I have no proof that he's a little shit. Except for the fact that, how dare you have a dream like that and believe it without God even confirming it, without even having a dream that God confirmed it. Some bundles of grain. He is a little shit. But never mind, because that was Judah's brother who lied to Tamar, and then he went and got a prostitute. And it was his daughter-in-law Tamar, but she was veiled. Then, when he found out that his daughter Tamar had acted as a prostitute, he didn't know yet that she had acted as a prostitute that he had slept with. He just knew she had gotten pregnant when acting as a prostitute, not that it was his baby. So as soon as he finds out about this, he goes, bring her out and let her be burned. Then she goes, wait, the guy I had sex with, I've got to see a look at it. And Judah's like, oh, that's my seal. Then he goes, all right, well, she's more righteous than I am because I lied to her. I told her that I was going to arrange for her to marry my son, and I did not actually ever want to do that, and I did not do that. But God is not with Judah. So never mind. I am wrong to say that I have, or at least, I cannot support saying that, and the support that I thought I had is not support, because I just get sometimes the names confused. Yeah, I'll let you know if Joseph, does some shit. Joseph wasn't even born yet, I don't think, when his brothers wiped out that whole community. All right. But I am just shocked by the instances of deceit. And Abraham and Isaac and Jacob definitely were deceivers. And God was with them.
Ok, je laisse Nio sortir vite fait. Ok. Good boy, buddy.
See, this is... Joseph is more of what I was
Comment je vais sortir
expecting.
d'ici?
You know, Joseph has had some troubles here. His brother sold him to slavery. I think he was a little shithead, but I don't see any evidence of immorality. What did I say earlier? Oh yeah, that he believed his dream. Arrogance, sure, but immorality? No, not really, so I can't keep this still. So then he gets put in a prison because a woman lied about being raped. And, but the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his love. We're in Genesis 39:21. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. So I expected this, God to be, I didn't expect God to be so selective about which of his children was actually any good. Or for him to just keep killing people, and then for the people that replaced those people to be such shit. But yeah, Joseph seems, I guess, kind of fine, I guess. So I was shocked by Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, who I do not think were very moral, and who I think I have evidence were immoral. Man, that was kind of shocking. But Joseph is an example, is a singular so far example of someone who was actually, again, I hate him, but I can't say that he's done anything immoral.
Mais la voiture blanche, comment elle s'est mise là?
Ouais.
Stop.
Attends.
Il y a quelqu'un dedans?
Je sais pas. Je la laisse passer.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114
Ok.
Oh,
Fuck
ça
it
va pas.
out. Neo, chill
C'est
out.
une dalle.
Okay.
Wait, 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. I said in an earlier video that they're getting at least some evidence, even if it's just a dream. They're getting much more evidence than that. Not just shared dreams either. Great fortune that people around them are saying, oh wow, the Lord is with him. But then even more than that, a flood actually happened. So Noah and his immediate descendants, well, they were looking around, hey, there are no other humans, and Noah was like, oh yeah, there was a flood. So they had evidence. Anybody who was involved with Sodom and Gomorrah, they had evidence with the fire and everything being burned from above, and the visiting of the angels. What kind of evidence has Joseph had? Well, just that God has been with him so far. He has dreams, good fortune, and that's it. Joseph doesn't have a lot of evidence yet. But now, Joseph interprets 2 dreams. That's what we're reading now.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux?
Genesis 40.
Neil, move! 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 Neil, get down! Get down!
C'est vraiment trop fort. Hein.
Skip
Alright.
ahead a second. 24
Merci.
Foxtrot 19 Charlie. Because I was curious, because my vehicle is made by Ford. I think it's a Ford Transit, is like the make of the engine or something, I don't know. But then the RV part, it's a Challenger. That's the make. I mean, the make. And then the model is Genesis 43. So I want to check out what Genesis 43 is. And that's the brothers' return to Egypt. I had someone that I kind of considered a brother in my life, Abdullah. He always, was that him who always talked about going to Egypt? He was from Lebanon. Yeah, he really, really wanted to go to Egypt. But I don't think that he will be the brother I go to Egypt with.
J'ai mon
So that's
portable.
interesting.
Ah non, je sais pas. Comment ça se fait? Ah oui, elle est là. Et ça, ouais, je suis derrière.
Pas obligé d'avancer. Hein.
Non. Je me mets là. Tu te vas là. Oh, pardon.
24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. I have video chatted one person in my life where the video chat was about traveling together. I had posted something on a page. I think 2 people responded to it, and I did a call with one of them about traveling together, maybe Northern Europe, stuff like that. He was Egyptian. Should I hit him up again? He was supposed to find out when his vacation would be or something, and then he never hit me up again. But I thought we got along on the call. .24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. So I was wondering why my simulators would make this the Bible, you know, because it's a peripheral prop. But I mean, why they would surely other people that they have put into this simulation have looked at the Bible. And if it was the Bible I'm seeing here, surely they realized, oh, I'm in a simulation. Because no way this is the source of billions of people's
belief systems, worldviews, life traditions, all that stuff. So, I mean, it can't be in your interest that we figure out the simulation, is what I was thinking. But then I realized that in simulations we actually made the religious text of whatever the religion was of people. By the way, is this Bible thing real? Oh no, of course not. You guys just made it for the game. But there are some similar things in actual human history. Okay. And when you guys actually included those in the simulation, they are actually sort of convincing. And so you had minds that you would put in the simulation that then believed in the religions you had, that in the real world had been disbelieved for centuries. But they went and actually believed them. So you had to make something really absurd so that we wouldn't go believing in it. I gotcha. But then, of course, then you're stuck. It's like, well, because if we don't believe in it, then we may realize, oh, but this isn't even believable. And then we realize it's a simulation. But I guess it doesn't make a big difference whether we realize it's a simulation, especially if anybody who realizes it's a simulation also realizes things I do, which are that I keep going, that my sacrifice was worth it, that it's cool, that, I'm gonna, at least I get to live in this fantasy, you guys are stuck in the real world where, blah, blah. All right, I got you. I can't stop drinking. I mean, I'm only on my second beer, but I don't think I'm gonna drink after I finish this case. I love this, but also don't feel like it. But I do feel like it now, but anyway, did this nigga Joseph, who had two wild-ass dreams that made his brothers hate him and sell him into slavery, did he literally just say this? So he's in prison because he was falsely accused by the Pharaoh's wife of rape. And the Pharaoh sends these two other guys to prison because he's offended by them. And they both have dreams. These are the two dreams that Joseph interprets. We thought that he was going to have the dreams. He didn't have the dreams, so this is kind of evidence of God for Joseph. But look what he says. Look what he says. Hold on. No. So he asked these two guys that are in the cells next to him, why do you look so worried today? And they replied, we both had dreams last night, but no one can tell us what they mean. Look what Joseph says. It's a two-part quote, okay? First part. Interpreting dreams is God's business. Hello? What did God have to say about your dreams about the bundles of grain? Nothing. What did God have to say about the 11 stars bowing before you? Nothing. But your dad believed it. Jacob was like, oh, okay. He also believed that you were killed and suffered because of it. Because he wasn't scientific. He wasn't a critical thinker. So now you say interpreting dreams is God's business. That's part one. Then what does he say? Joseph replied, go ahead and tell me your dreams. Bro, for anybody, 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie 1605 or something. For anybody who thought that Joseph was going to be like, look, I can't help you with the interpretation because that's God's business, but I can try. No. So he goes, interpreting dreams is God's business. Go ahead and tell me your dreams.
So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream first. In my dream, he said, I saw a grapevine in front of me. The vine had 3 branches that began to bud and blossom, and soon it produced clusters of ripe grapes. I was holding Pharaoh's wine cup in my hand, so I took a cluster of grapes and squeezed the juice into the cup. Then I placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. Continuing, we're not skipping anything, I'm just giving you where we are. Genesis 39:12. This is what the dream means, Joseph said. The 3 branches represent 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you up and restore you to your position as his chief cupbearer. I guess he's going to release him from prison. I'm going to keep reading on my own, but how funny. Arrogance, then, as has been demonstrated by Abraham, Isaac, thinking that they're special and you know, how asymmetrical their sort of punishments have been for other people. That they're slighted in the slightest, then they will do the gravest of grave injury. No, it's not as poetic as slighted in the slightest. Alright, I'm going to get back to it. Alright, so anyway, but arrogance would be something that even Joseph has, yeah. Even if I don't see his immorality yet, but arrogance
Tu peux
stuff.
avoir un rouge à la sortie d'un rond-point.
On est au numéro 6 de la vue.
Oui,
C'est pas avant le jeudi 8.
le 8, ok. Du coup, pas pour mon premier cours, pas grave. Enfin, pas pour le trial, pas grave. Tu prends pour jeudi
Okay,
le 8.
24
À quelle heure?
Foxtrot 19 Charlie, so Joseph has gotten evidence.
Ouais, 11h13.
He heard about these 2 dreams, and then indeed the Pharaoh did just as the dreams that he heard about had predicted. That said, obviously, we can also say if we're ever being serious about the scrutiny, we would have to consider the possibility that these dreams were more indications of the past and more anticipations of the future, reasoned anticipations of the future based on the past. And that, well, obviously, they were in prison, so the chief baker was going to be impaled, and the cupbearer knew he hadn't done enough to actually be impaled, and that he would be restored to his position, obviously. But hey, this isn't for scrutinizing. This is for, what's a good word that ends in izing? Tantalizing, for prophesizing, for imaginizing. It's for imagining.
Demande que les animaux de compagnie soient isolés.
Ok. Oui, de toute façon, c'était obligé. Hein.
Tu travailles avec le chien qui est sur
Ouais. Ben, il avait pas. Oui.
24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. It's not for tangibilizing, which is a word that we were using in the video about Collin intangibility, which is very relevant to religion.
Quoi?
T'as remis là.
Quoi?
Tu as remis
Oui.
Max.
Bah oui.
Hein?
Il fallait se chauffer. Je savais pas pourquoi t'avais mis dans l'eau bleue.
24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. Bro, have you read this shit? So by just predicting that one of them would be forgiven and one of them would be executed, so then the Pharaoh has this dream, and because Joseph had correctly interpreted the dreams of the other 2 guys, which was very simple, all was, you'll get your job back and you're going to be executed. There's 2 guys in prison, you're going to be forgiven, you're going to be executed. And then indeed that happened. He had a 25% chance of being right. He had a 25% chance of being right if you say that he had no information about the two guys. But, you know, they were in prison together. Joseph could have been clever and figured out, all right, this guy's going to get his job back. I know the Pharaoh. This guy's going to get his job back. But this guy, no, he's going to be executed. And then based on that was his resume. And then the Pharaoh is like, all right, I got a dream for you. And it's part of Joseph's interpretation. He goes, well, so based on this, my interpretation here, I think you should probably find Genesis 41:33, an intelligent and wise man, and put him in charge of the entire land of Egypt. And then the next section, the next paragraph is a new section. Joseph made ruler of Egypt. Joseph's a clever little fuck. Alright, to be super fair, 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie, let's say he had a 10% chance. Because, let's say there are three possibilities. The prisoners get their jobs back, stay in prison, or executed. So they're either forgiven, they stay in prison, or they're punished. Executed. So yeah, 10% chance. But no, because ultimately, staying in prison would never be a forever option. Ultimately, they would either be forgiven or executed, right? So I think it goes back to 25% chance. He didn't say when. He didn't say by this time, here's what's... Or yes, he did. Very much so. Yes, he did. He said in 3 days. Okay, so he had a 10% chance. But I think if you're clever, you can turn a 10% chance into about 50. You know what else I don't understand? I want to find where the 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. And where are the real stories, the animations? I want to watch some cool animations or fictional stories. It's only 2 bits. And I didn't get much. 4.8%, just little cans. Where the stories, these stories, I would love to watch this. Where Abraham is portrayed according to the Bible and our modern, not sentiments, sensibilities. Because this Joseph guy, wow. He said to his brothers after he framed them, don't you know that a man like me can predict the future? He wants so badly for his dreams to be realized of them bowing down to him that he's pretending not to know them and framing them for stuff and threatening them. And he's holding it over them, the fact that, he's got lots of grain and the Canaanites don't. Oh my goodness, where are those stories? Those are the ones that that would be such a good series. And I'm sure it's already been done. It's just unfortunate I've heard about it. I know there are probably South Park, Simpsons episodes, but this is so great. There could be such a good... all you need is like an episode per character here. Have an episode for Noah, have an episode for Adam and Eve, and just show us how there's a bad guy in the story that we don't realize. Maybe in the case of Noah, it'll be God or something. Don't overdo it. Be faithful to the text. I guess I could write that. Pretty easy. Just do little scenes. They really are short. You don't need too much dialogue. Yeah, but some of it's like influenced the evilness of some of these guys, and I tend to prefer to preach benefit of the doubt. But it's hard to show a character sympathetically and expect the audience to see it's evil. Even if you show the evil, if you don't make them go like this, they're not going to see it. And I know that because most protagonists, it seems like, are pretty immoral. And, you know, we just get upset about the guy who's a little weird. In 24 Foxtrot 19 Charlie. I'm gonna get some snacks. Oh yeah, I was thinking, you know, another mystery for your script and for mine is that you don't know, we don't know, the audience doesn't know whether you and I are simulations, like simulants, or whether we're actually connecting with someone from another simulation. You know, for instance, clearly I'm the one who came up with Alaris. So was that because the simulators wanted you to know that you were in this simulation? Or am I a real world entity who's actually also in a simulation and just figured it out before you? Or maybe you had figured it out too. And regardless of whether you had in real life, maybe you figured it out too. And then if you did in real life, and well, is this another real entity who figured it out? Or is this a simulation confirming it for you? Or, or is this, or are you actually crazy? And you're like, oh, someone else thinks they're in the simulation? Uh, some guy that lives in a camper? Why? Oh, this is just some common human folly then. You know? Maybe my story of realizing it is just too similar to yours. It's like, these are just human psychoses then. We're gonna have so much fun making this story. You know, if you had a story about people who lived in a place without an up and down, because there's no gravity, so there's no real meaningful concept of sort of an objective up and down. And so it would just be about where their head is or where their feet are. And so if a certain group of people have agreed, all right, we're going to have our feet going this way and our head going that way. Anyway, what you would use is, instead of up and down, a head and a foot. So then you would have a cool scene with two characters where whoever says it first is right and gets the zinger, gets to say, but what you don't understand, my friend, because they're from two different groups. One that has their feet X way and another that has their feet the other way. Because like I said, they're pretty consistent within groups. And he says, you know what, son? What's ahead for you is already a foot for me. right? What's ahead for you, where you're playing to, is already afoot. It's already happening with me. Foxtrot 19 Charlie 1711. I've talked about the KESS database, the truths that the world has discovered, that humans have discovered, that a database that people can consult, or it has a confidence rating, things that people can accept, and we can, giants whose shoulders we can stand on and think farther, by not having to reinvent the wheel. One such one that I feel like is often neglected would be fudge. I lost it. What was I thinking about? Oh yeah. Um, because there's certain things that we have to accept in order to think about the consequences of those things. It's almost like a database of non-fallacies, of things that, because fallacies are things that we almost treat as axiomatic, but they're not actually true or reasonable or fair or whatever. So it'd be of actual premises. But what would be what was I thinking? Like, gosh, no, it's too embarrassing. Because there's so much that we can question when someone tries to make an argument. And it's like, I get how that seems worth questioning. And in some ways it is. But based on the information we have available, this is our answer. So we can question whether our answer is 100% correct all day long. And the answer will always be no. It's not 100% correct. But it is the best that we have. You have to be able to make certain assumptions. So this KESS database are the assumptions that have been, or maybe there's a part of the KESS database for assumptions, or for basic KESSes, things that we build other arguments on, and things that are fair enough to assume. All right, the one I was thinking was the validity of IQ tests. Yes, it's embarrassing. Right, look, the thought that I was having was I was looking at a puzzle, couldn't solve it. I was having trouble solving it. I was thinking about it. The caption said only 4% of people solve it. And I know that's like in a lot of things, but I like this guy. It's, what's his account? Easy Puzzles or something. EJ Puzzle. Easy. I feel like there's a J in there. But Easy Puzzles, maybe? But I never thought of it as easy. I always just saw it as his initials. I guess I never said it out loud. But I think that is it. Easy something puzzles, maybe. Anyway, so I was trying to figure out this problem. Adios, February 31st. But it seems like the 3 is saying adios. What does that represent? I don't know. So I was thinking about it, trying to figure it out. And of course, I guess feeling bad about not thinking about it, you could say this is not how I experienced the thought process. But yes, at some point I did think, hey, my IQ says I'm in 0.1%. So I should only have trouble with with those kinds of puzzles, not a 4%er. I don't know. I wasn't trying to make a point like, oh, so that's bullshit, the 4%. I really do trust the guy. And also, it's very possible to generally be in the 1%, but then for a given problem, be in the 4%. But anyway, and then lastly, what's possible is that I'm not in the 0.1% at all, that there's some flaw with IQ tests. And that's like a fundamental doubt that, first of all, I can't resolve. And second of all, honestly, a lot depends on that being true. I only talk because there's evidence that what I'm saying might be more valuable than what someone else is saying. I mean, that's not the only reason I talk. I don't know what the reason I talk is, but a justification for talking would be that. But that's not actually, I think my justification is what I came up with yesterday, which is that that's how I figure things out. By working through categories and language, and that's, you know, like talking, not just thinking. Anyway. So I was just thinking about that. Anyway. We're not gonna, I was not trying to say EDAST that, oh, first thing I want to put in the official database of truths is that Eris's IQ is true. Look, I'm a brain. You know, I don't agree with, you know, many of us don't agree with stuff that some of us say, okay? And also, let's not be so cynical and maligned, you know, I don't know, maybe that thought process wasn't so horrible, but not, you know, so, oh my gosh. Qu'est-ce que t'en penses? Hein? Je pense que c'est rien.
Jews have the Torah, Muslims have the Quran, and Christians have the Bible. What is your book?
The universe. To understand myself, to understand the world, I study everything. I don't think that all knowledge comes from a single book or from a single group of people. You can, wherever knowledge is, we want to go out and find it there.
So this is your book?
Part of it, yeah, it's one page in the book. Who knows what other mysteries are there if we study this tree or this stone or this butterfly?
To understand atheism better, I decided to sit down with one of the most famous atheists in the world, Yuval Noah Harari. I had a few basic questions to ask him, like, what is atheism?
I think most atheists don't think about in those terms. It's like defining yourself, I'm not a cat. This is not my definition. Obviously, I'm not a cat. Why should I be a cat? So similarly, I don't go around defining myself, I don't believe in any gods. Why should I believe in any gods? Why would any person define themselves by believing or not believing in gods? All people, to a certain extent, are atheists. Even the most religiously devout, deep down, they have their doubts. Maybe they don't even dare to admit it to themselves, but sometimes they think, maybe it isn't true. Maybe there is no God. The word God means two completely different things. On the one hand, it means, again, the big mystery of the universe. Who is responsible for the Big Bang? Why is there something rather than nothing? Oh, that's God. And this is a God, the God of the unknown. We don't know anything about this God. It's so much bigger than us. And then they have another meaning for the word God. An angry man in the sky that we know everything about. We know what he likes in fashion. We know what he likes in sex. We know what he wants us to vote in the elections. So make up your mind. Is it the big mystery of the universe that we don't know anything about? Or is this angry man who has all these very concrete opinions about fashion and sex and politics? The deep mystery of the universe doesn't care what you eat, what you dress, or who you fall in love with. The thought that we don't understand the Big Bang and the laws of physics, there is some big mystery that explains everything. And that this big mystery cares what I ate for breakfast, really?
Why is science better than religion?
Science is better at giving answers because it is willing to admit its mistakes. People think that if you never make a mistake, that's the best thing. It's the worst thing. Never trust someone who tells you they never make a mistake. They are always lying to you. There is no such thing. Nobody is infallible. Everybody makes mistakes. Now, religions refuse to admit it. Even when they admit it, they blame it on somebody else. If you compare scientists and rabbis and priests, what did they do for centuries? So rabbis and priests, they perfected the art of excuses. They are perfect in finding excuses for their mistakes and errors. Oh, we didn't dance the rain dance in the proper way. This is why God didn't send us the rain. But they never say, oh, you know, we just made a mistake. There is no God. We just made a mistake. This book is not accurate. They become better over centuries. They became better and better at making up excuses. Scientists, on the other hand, they are willing to admit a mistake. They have a theory. They experiment, like you want to find a medicine for something. You invent a medicine, you try, it doesn't work. You don't invent an excuse. You say, we made a mistake, let's try something else. Over centuries, the people who specialize in making excuses, they become better at making excuses. The people who specialize in developing new medicines, they become better at making better medicines. Which is why today, even religious people, when they are sick, they don't go to the rabbi or the priest anymore. They'll just invent some excuse. They go to the doctor. One of the things about atheists, they don't try to convert anybody. If somebody is happy being a Muslim and is not harming anybody else, that's fine. I have no kind of deep interest in converting that person. Again, a lot of religious people, you know, they are trying to win points so they go to heaven after they die. And the most successful religions in history, they have a trick. They tell you that you will get a lot of points if you convert more people to our religion. And this is how it spreads. It's like a pyramid scheme. I don't get any points for converting somebody to atheism. I have no interest in running after people and trying to convince them about it. If you are religious, then you shouldn't use your religion as an excuse to harm other people. You know, people often hate and they refuse to admit that they hate. They say, God hates you. It's not me who hates you. They are angry and they say God is angry. They want a piece of land and they say, oh, God wants this land. Me, I don't care about this land, but he wants it, so I have to fight. And it's you, it's not your God. It's, if you're full of hate, it's you. You can't blame your hate on God. If you start a war, find some other excuse. Don't blame your war on the mystery of the universe. The mystery of the universe wants this war, so I have to fight it. No. Don't blame your own problems and weaknesses and hatreds on God. Keep an open mind and have courage. That if there is a little voice inside of you which says, maybe this isn't true. Maybe the story I heard is just a story that somebody invented. People will tell you, oh, this is the voice of Satan. This is the voice of the devil trying to tempt you. It's not. It's just the voice of curiosity. And maybe someday you'll have the courage to listen to that voice and see where it leads you.